India is an adventurous paradise. You head out for a holiday, which quickly turns into a survival situation. A dream turns into a nightmare.
I'm thirsty, I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I'm lost.
Shelter, water, and food become a priority. A fire to keep you warm. But how? I'm Chandan Lahiri from OTA Survival School. I'll give you some tips and show you some tricks to use in a self-reliant situation. Do not think problems can only happen to other people. It can happen to you. There are many ways to find either an existing shelter or to build an entirely new one. Shelter is the most important essential in wilderness survival. Let's find out how you can either build a shelter or make use of an existing one. There you go. Now what we have is a top shelter, a little different from the A shelter that we've made, but there's a lot more wind which can flow in. So if it's a humid condition, if it's a jungle for instance, you make a top shelter like this. Even if it rains, you're protected. It's not going to be very cold. You need a little more wind. You need shelter for maybe 3, 4, 5 hours. You can build a little fire here and you're good to go. Want to test it out? A top sheet is something I always carry in my pack. Lightweight, easy to carry, and it almost replaces the need to carry a tent pretty often. You can do numerous kinds of shelter by using a top sheet, and it can protect you against the elements from rain, snow, heat, dust, wind. The most important thing after a positive mental attitude when you're caught in a survival situation or you need to survive in the wild is to find shelter. What we'll do is we'll use this tree and this tree. Now that's your top sheet. We'll put this about 3-4 feet high and we'll put it here. This is not going to be a load-bearing top. We'll do the same thing on the other end and you can just tie a normal overhand. That's the way it is. You need to be protected against the elements. It can be hot as hell in the desert, but come night, moment the sun goes down, it's going to freeze over. In the mountains there could be ice and snow. It could be raining. You have to protect yourself from the elements. You have to find shelter. And when you're building a shelter, look around you, observe. Maybe you're carrying a shelter, you're carrying a tent, maybe a top with which you can build a shelter. Find a rock overhang, maybe build a coal bed shelter. There are lots of ways that you can either be prepared to make shelter in the wilderness, or you could make do with the raw materials that nature provides. Shelter is essential, and when you have to build a shelter, make sure you do it in daylight hours. The reason you need to build a shelter is to get rest, is to get sleep, and to let your body recover from the fatigue, from the tiredness that you've experienced through the day. So therefore, shelter becomes very important. But a lot of people say, why do you need sleep? Particularly if you're lost in the wilderness, lost in the wild, you don't know where you are. Why do you want to waste time sleeping? Maybe the first night you can get by without sleeping because the adrenaline is rushing through your veins. You're wanting to get out into civilization, get out of the problem that you find yourself in. But come the second night, come the third night, fatigue will set in. And unless you catch up on sleep, the body is going to get so fatigued, the brain will not function properly. A fatigued body is not good in a survival situation. Get rest, maybe 4 hours, maybe 3 hours, maybe 5 hours. Get an adequate amount of rest so your body has recovered, it's rejuvenated. You're feeling fresh again after that piece of rest, after sleeping. So sleep, that's absolutely essential. Sleep is necessary. And to get sleep, you need to find shelter. Learn to adapt, improvise, innovate, and overcome. To learn more tips and tricks, visit this site. I'm Chandan Lahiri, and I hope to see you soon at the OTA Survival School. Leave nothing but footprints. Bring back nothing but memories.